What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we got my man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yes, sir. Right now, it's just the two of us, Al, you and I tonight. I think B might
Mhm.
be jumping on in a few, but it's a good thing B's not on right now because we're going to talk about Shazam Fury of the Gods tonight. That's the review we're going to give over today because you and I got a chance to watch it on Sunday.
Mhm.
And we're going to get you guys ready for John Wick Chapter 4. So, John Wick Chapter 4 coming out this Thursday, one of the most action packed series I've seen in a long time. And each film has gotten better and better. And the reviews, Al, seem to
Mhm.
be out of this world. So let's get right into the Shazam Fury of the Gods. Let's do a quick non-spoiler review, Al. What was your thoughts on Shazam Fury of the Gods after you left the theater?
It's an entertaining movie. If you go in thinking that, you'll enjoy it. Just don't think about the movie after, because, like me, the more I thought about the movie afterwards, the worse I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So, yeah, because when we left, I was like, "Oh, that was a cool movie. It was fun. A lot of jokes here and there." The more I thought about the plot, the more I thought about the way the characters were portrayed and so forth. The more I was like, yeah, I didn't like that. So, so if this it turns out to be the last time we see Shazam, it will be for me on a down note because again, there's a lot of humor during the moments. It's funny,
right.
but in hindsight, a lot of it was stupid. There's a major product placement in the movie that I was like, oh Jesus, come on.
Yeah.
Even for a corny movie like this, it was horrible.
Yeah, it definitely was.
But, I was surprised because they got some big name, actors in here. You got Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren, and you have a returning cast and characters from a well-received first movie. And I feel like they went in certain aspects of the main character, they went too far
Hmm.
with half of his portrayal, where they
Right.
seemed to go in a different direction with the other half. Um, the story didn't make sense. To me, there was a lot of holes in the reason why things were happening,
Right.
why they happened, why they were able to happen. So it's a movie where if you just enjoy the humor for what it is, you may have a good experience during the movie. Just like me, I tend to analyze stuff maybe sometimes too much, but
Right.
yeah, a lot of it collapse when you try to think about it a little bit
Or
more than
try to
2
make sense
minutes.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of have a similar experience because when I left the theater, actually, while I was watching the movie, I was saying to myself, these visual effects are crazy. There's, for what we see in the commercials is like a wooden dragon and all these other creatures and different things. And even the Shazam family themselves and doing what they're doing in the film, it looked real, it looked great. I could tell you some of the shots in this movie were better than anything that Marvel has done lately when it comes to CGI and stuff like that. Like very believable CGI, very believable effects on everything that they were doing in this film. The story itself left a lot to be desired for me. I try to make the best of it. I just think that I get not a lot of people know just Shazam villains, but there were villains that were better than the villains that we chose. I don't want to say too much because people who haven't seen this movie may not know about something else that happens in this movie.
Mhm.
But the villains that we're shown, Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, of course, they're unrecognizable characters. They're brand new characters to the DCEU. They're basically mythological gods with changed history. That they made them the daughters of Atlas.
Mhm.
And I just think that I didn't care enough about those villains. Like there was nothing to them. I mean, I wish they would have shown their history, their past to kind of get us to be like, oh, this is why they're upset. This is why they're going after the Shazam family. This is why they're doing whatever it is that they're doing in the real world here. And you can get along with it and kind of like almost see why they're doing what they're doing. Nope, it's just like your run of the mill, like 2000, comic book movie where they're bad guys because they're bad guys. Like that's it. And I really felt like there was something like we're past that point, I think, comic book fans, We're past
Mhm.
the point of just looking at, oh shit, Shazam's flying. No, we don't give a shit about them flying. We want to see a good story, heartfelt story. And it does give us that. It does give us a little heart in that movie. There's a part towards the end of the movie where I was like touched by some of the conversations in there.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like, eh, I mean, I saw the movie. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay, more okay. But I think there was a better movie to be made, and I think there was some better characters and better decisions that could have been done.
Yeah.
My overall recommendation to the people who have not seen it, because there's a there's a lot of you who haven't seen it. Trust me, we've seen the numbers. Uh,
Yeah. The
I would tell you guys, it's you don't need to rush to go see it. It is it's a okay comic book story. It's okay film. Again, not a lot of people know about Shazam and the Shazam family. It's a very old comic book and an old character. And I think like you kind of hinted at it, Al. I think what's the guy who plays Shazam again?
Oh, Levy,
Zach
something like
Levy?
Zachary Levy.
Zachary Levy. I think he overdid it with the stupid humor.
Yeah.
Kind of made himself look stupid and sound stupid. And I think he's a little bit smarter than that, or he was smarter than that before in the last episode. Also,
Mhm.
he's getting older. I think in this movie he's supposed to be like around 18 years old or
Yeah.
almost 18. He should know certain things at that age. So
Yeah.
like, so there was a joke in there about him saying something incorrectly, and I was just like, this is stupid.
Mhm.
Can't lie, my eyes closed a couple times during the movie, so it wasn't like completely like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next every second. But yeah, man,
Mhm.
I would tell you guys you can wait for this movie to come out on Blu-ray or on demand. You don't have to rush out to the theater to go see this one.
Yeah.
And those post-credit scenes, Al, there's two of them. I think one of them we're gonna have to have a discussion with James Gunn. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
This is a
And
little unfair, buddy.
yeah, and the aspect of it, like I think that when you remember the reason why that post-credit scene had to happen is the only reason why I think that person I mean, we're still in the movie.
Right.
Otherwise, I think that would have been a result of the upcoming changes as well.
Exactly. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense some of the stuff that they're doing in there. And then another one is just like, okay, are we gonna ever pay that off? But who knows, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
listen, that is my thoughts on it. Al, how about you, man? What's your recommendation on Shazam: Fury of the Gods?
If you're not a theatrical person like we are, we love the theater experience, So for me, like, yo, whatever AMC did to IMAX, keep doing because that was a totally different experience for me for an IMAX movie.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember it looking that good. I don't remember the sound being that great. It rivaled the Dolby experience for me.
yeah.
So if you're a theater experience person, go watch this movie in the theater. I think that added to the enjoyment.
Hmm.
But in terms of having to see it in the theater, not at all. Like,
Not at all,
and
right?
I'm wondering if that's what hurt this is so many people expecting it to come out streaming relatively soon.
Probably, man. And also on top of that, just to also sell it a little bit, the end fight I think was very good. Just so you know, like I don't want to say it sound like I'm just completely like, oh, this movie was a waste of time. It wasn't really a waste of time. It was entertaining and it was okay.
Mhm.
But the one standout is again the visuals of the actual movie and the ending. I think there was a good fight, good battle that and something that happened in there. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
So listen, we're gonna go right into the spoiler section of this review of Shazam: Fury of the Gods now, so that way we can really talk about it because there's things that are not in the trailer that we need to speak of, not including Wonder Woman. I don't know why you put that in the trailers, but I
Yeah.
guess you kind of gotta get as many people in the seats as you can, and didn't work
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. Because there wasn't much rumbling about this movie ahead of time
Yeah, so I
until
think there
then.
was like show 'em Wonder Woman. All right, so listen, let's go right into a full spoiler now, full spoiler review. So people, you have your chance to pause this and come back to us. If not, we're gonna go right into it now. Al, tell me your true thoughts now about like some of the stuff that you saw. Like, what didn't work for you? What could have made this movie better for you?
Well, their whole attempt was very weak in everything about the plot. Like,
Hmm.
you have these three sisters. You really sell the Lucy Liu Helen character. What was it, Calypso? And I forget.
Calypso and Cespera or I
Yeah,
forget the
something like
other
that.
one.
So you always you show them a lot, but you don't really show that there's a third sister. And to me, it was cheesy because once you have her show up as a new girl in school, she meets the kid and she's like, "Oh yeah, my sister is very controlling. Oh, and tell me, oh, you're the guy that knows Shazam. Oh, show me what." Like it was real obvious that to me she was involved with the other two.
Mm,
Um, you know the, the way they developed the characters, like we said, all the other characters, like all the other family members, show growth. They show some form of development from the last movie. Shazam and Billy Batson, they seem the same.
yeah.
And to your point, it's supposed to be a few years to the point where he's about to age out of foster care, and that becomes a big issue of supposedly what's driving his character is he's afraid of losing them. So that's
Mhm.
why he always goes, "We all respond," or "No one responds."
Right.
And but yet the kid, you see him carrying the weight of that. But when he's Shazam, he's acting like he's 5 years old.
Yeah.
Like you said, he sees the name of Solomon on the wisdom of Solomon on the list, and he says Solo Man. And then even later in the movie, he says Sauron. Like for some reason, he has the inability to remember a name. Like they went over the top with some of those aspects in order to make Shazam seem goofy or comical. Or I don't
Right.
know if they were really trying to have him be the comic relief. But to me, they should have played on the interaction between him and the brother, and used that exchange like they did in the first one as the comic relief.
Mhm.
Not them alone, not them being goofy, but their banter. Let that be the comic relief because they had great like comedic banter back and forth in the
They
first one.
did in the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This one they should have played off that and let it just develop even further. Um, I feel like the brother's character carried the movie somewhat for me because he
Mhm.
was the one that had the most interesting plot points. He had the love interest. He, lost his powers and was trying to, as himself, steal the apple and do things like that. So,
Be
like,
the
I feel
hero
like
still without the power, right? Yeah.
exactly. So, I felt like they had too much of a pivot from Shazam. And then,
Mhm.
then they had to go back to Shazam later and again make him the hero by stripping the powers from all the others. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like the more I think about this movie, the more I find that I didn't like about how they executed it. You have Helen Mirren's character seems to be the leader, yet she doesn't recognize that her sister, who they've been around like thousands and decades of thousands of years,
Mhm.
you don't see how she's being like, we can read it, but she can't. Like, I don't know, like, and not only that, and then the dragon, the part that bothered me was, she turns, supposedly, from what I surmised right there when they were talking about what to do with the apple and how to use it. And then, she turns on the sister there. If they all control the dragon, why did the dragon kill the sister?
Yeah.
So that's what it's like. There's things in this for the movie to work that they needed to explain, and they didn't even hint to an
Didn't
explanation
even
for it.
care. Just kept
Yeah,
moving.
they were like, "Oh, it'll be cool if the dragon kills her." But why would the dragon kill her? The dragon was obedient. So the more I think of the movie, there's more plot points that I'm like, that doesn't make sense that would happen.
Yeah.
And even to the big thing at the end, like it's like I think I even asked you, how did they get there? Like because if supposedly if there's no gods, then it doesn't explain how they got there in the first place. You know,
Right,
let
they're all
alone
it doesn't make any sense unless the wizard got him there or whatever.
yeah, but even he couldn't do it.
Right,
Remember,
no
he
more
couldn't
magic.
even yeah, he couldn't get himself over there. So that's why I was like, no, but it's fun in the moment.
Right.
It doesn't stand up to retrospect, but in the moment, there is a lot of fun in the movie. There's a lot of brevity. I like that family dynamic.
Mhm,
Like you said, it makes for a little emotional scene later in the movie because there
mhm,
is that family dynamic. Um, but yeah, in hindsight, like it made me not even want Shazam in anything further. It almost
yeah.
honestly, it almost took me out of wanting to see anything of this DC that's supposedly coming.
Yeah, I can feel what you're saying because it almost feels like if this is like this, then why should I even give Blue Beetle a chance? We're all going to give
Yeah.
Flash a chance. We've all heard too much shit about the Flash being amazing and being one of these best movies, comic book movies ever made. And I'm like, all right, now I got to see it for myself. And I can't lie, the freaking trailer is epic. But after Shazam, I'm like, I'm iffy on Aquaman. I'm iffy on Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Aquaman's trailer is going to have to blow me away in order for me to be really excited by it. Am I going to still see it? Of course, I'm going to see it. It's Aquaman. It's a comic book movie. I love movies. I'll be there. But as far as like, interest into the movie, I'm losing it, man. I'm losing the
Yeah.
interest. So I'm just almost like, okay, let's see what's going to happen now.
Yeah,
But
because this
like,
story was written before any of these changes were even discussed, mentioned, or thought of. So
yeah,
this was a direction they were wanting Shazam to go in.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. And you hear all these little stories how like, you know, The Rock didn't want to do a cameo in this movie, and he may have pulled some of the people from his movie out of the cutscenes at the end where the Justice Society should have been involved, and he took that out of there too. It's just like
Oh
almost
wow.
like backstabbing each other for this movie, and it's just like would have made a difference. Not really, probably. The story is what the story is for this episode of the DCEU or Shazam here,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I gotta say, like watching the movie, there's so many different things that I think could have happened or played out. Nothing against Helen Mirren or Lucy Liu's character, but they played one note villains. Like we're evil because we're evil. We're mad because we don't have power and you do, and we want to take that power back. If they had really honed in on like you took our father's power and that was the big deal, I could have felt something more for that. But it felt like, no, we just want the power and we want to be evil and we want to bring this fantasy to or our godness into your world and create our world there. It was just like, okay. um, I really don't know where to go with it. It's like almost like there's bits and pieces that I liked. I didn't really like anything with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. The
Mm,
Shazam family itself, there was potential there, but even with that, Al, like there's really supposed to be kids that become superheroes when needed, right? They say Shazam.
mhm.
But there were points in this movie where they were like, there was no reason for them to be superheroes. They were in like background places and they were the superhero versions of themselves, where they should have been like themselves as young, talking and like, conversing about what just happened or what they plan is to be. But it felt like, we were more like, I think what we saw Billy Batson twice,
Yeah.
maybe in the movie, 2 or 3
Yeah.
times. Um, not enough high school scenes. The humor was a little silly.
Mhm.
But again, I don't want to like beat down on this movie because it was interesting. It was funny and it was cool. Again, the visuals, I keep going back to that because one of the sisters, I can't remember the one, it's the younger one. I forgot her name in the movie though. But she
Athene
had this, what was it say?
I forget, it was like with an A, I forgot.
Right? Aspera or something like that,
So
maybe I
yeah.
think. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, her powers, it kind of reminded me of almost like a Doctor Strange. Like she could force things and move things around that are not moving in the realm. And I guess she's moving herself back. It looked really cool as far as visually, but I don't know. There wasn't really enough time to see her power be used in a way that was like, oh shit, that's crazy, except for maybe 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
Um, I even think the Shazam family themselves, like there was so many different things they could have gone with, like the fact that they weren't working together. They could
Mhm.
have been something with that, but it's like they were taking bits and pieces of stories and just going with the flow and going through the next scene instead of like really harking on like, hey, we need to be together. And because we're not together, we're losing. It just felt like, nah, it didn't matter if they were together or not. They're just, being stupid and doing things that are gonna get their powers taken away.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just so much more that could have been done, and so much more that could have happened in the movie. The Wonder Woman cameo at the end of the movie was like it felt like they just added it in at the end. It would have been like better as a cutscene than part of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something like that with Wonder Woman is that shouldn't have been there. Because if you're gonna put Wonder Woman in the movie, like during the movie, she should have been there during the fight, or maybe some of the other DCU characters should have came in, especially with this big event that happens in Philadelphia. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? if Wonder Woman's gonna show up, that's where she shows up, and that would have been like, oh shit, this is awesome. This is kind of crazy. Look who just showed up. It's the even it could have been the Justice Society. Oh shit, Hawkman just jumped in here, like
Mhm.
But it felt like Shazam was by himself in Philly. The one good thing I saw about the movie was it destroyed Philadelphia's like baseball field. It would have been better if it would have been the Eagles stadium that they destroyed, but it was just like again, a lot left to be desired. A better story was in there.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man, just I wished better for the movie. But let's
Yeah.
talk about some of these side characters here. Let's talk about the villains first of all, Al. I mean, the villains themselves. We got Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and the new actress there. What was your thoughts on the villains yourself? Because like I said to you, for me, if they felt like one note,
Yeah.
you know.
And then even like Lucy Liu, and which is surprising because the two that felt the most that way were Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu's characters.
Mm-hmm.
How do you bring actresses? I mean, not that this was an overly complex movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like they didn't give it their best because they knew it wasn't worth their best.
Right.
Like you said, the characters were written one dimensionally. They're just bad. You don't really get to feel like in a lot of these other movies, we've been able to say, I understand what their point was. I understand why, they may be the bad guy, but I can understand where they're coming from and why they're bad. There's no
Yeah.
explanation to that
Like
here.
Lucy Liu was just being meaner and meaner just for like no
Yeah.
reason. Like
And the only one they gave any kind of depth to was the young one,
Mm,
but even with that, it was like, okay, you're 6,000 years old. Why are you acting like a teenager? You know what I'm saying? Why are you
mm,
falling in love with a teenage man? Not even a man, a teenager. Like, so that was where they lost me. Like, don't say she's 6,000 years old, but she's falling in love with a 17-year-old. Like, I
yeah.
don't, yeah. Um, and then, you have her powers. Philadelphia should have been all fucked up because when she turned the city apart to like hit Shazam while he was flying,
Mhm.
they need to redo Philadelphia from the ground up then because building nothing is where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Um, but in terms of characters, the only one I really liked that had some depth was the young one. I liked her powers. That was cool. Um, but in terms of why she turns against her sisters, they don't explain that other than I guess she fell
Yeah.
in love with this guy after 2 days of knowing him and turned against her sisters, who she's known
Right.
for thousands of years. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
just want to say,
just
yeah, I wish they did more. I mean, as long as this movie was, you had opportunities to flush stuff out, and they didn't.
yeah. And then in regards to the Shazam family, I did like the characters. I liked what is it? The extraordinary man, I think he called himself. And then the
Oh,
extraordinary
the
man
Every
junior.
Power Man.
The every power man, I think he called him.
Yeah.
Um, he was overly cocky for no reason, but then you kind of understand why he's the way he is because in his normal body he has crutches, he gets bullied, but then when he's a
Hmm.
superhero he feels he's everything. He's confident, he's looked upon, and it's so funny like and cheesy because you see it happen all the time in these like TV shows where someone gets like can turn into somebody else and they're like pretend to be who they're not, and
Hmm.
they think that the person likes them for the overconfident version of themselves when really they just need to be themselves. Womp womp. WB storyline. Like okay, I get that. But it's so funny. One of these guys from New Rock Stars, he was just saying like, can we stop beating up the guy with crutches or has disabilities and nothing happens to the bullies? Like, how do we let that happen in 2023?
Yeah.
So he wanted to
Yeah.
see the bullies get the comeuppance, but never
Because the
happened.
teacher didn't even say, "All right, detention." Nothing. He just let them walk away.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I know what that garbage can smells like. I've been in there a few times myself. And like, oh, dude, you need to get the suspending.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I mean, besides the other Shazam family, I think the other guys were pretty cool. I mean, we had the with the two girls and the two
Mhm.
guys. I think one was hero version Carla. And that's another thing. These guys don't have names.
Yeah.
How do we get attached to people without names? Hero version Darla? Is it her name on the freaking casting?
Yeah.
What? Hero
Yeah.
version. That's the name of the person. So one has a name called Shazam, and the rest of them are just like hero version of your real name. Like
Yeah, and not only that, I don't know if this was supposed to be a joke on Superman and how easily, he should have been identified, but the older sister doesn't change. She just puts her hero costume on. There's like it's not like she's wearing glasses or anything when she's not the hero. It's the
Right.
same face, same hairstyle. She
Yeah.
just puts a hero costume on, and nobody's like, and the parents don't say, "Hey, that's what's isn't that?"
They don't recognize her.
They don't recognize their own daughter that they've had since she was a kid.
I mean, they made her look a little more mature when she wears the superhero outfit or the Shazam family outfit. But when she's not the hero version of Carla or whatever her name is, or Mary, I think
She
it is
just didn't
hero
have
version,
makeup on.
she doesn't have makeup on, so she's younger. I'm like, oh my goodness. And seeing Megan Good be a superhero also is fantastic.
Yeah,
We have the two other characters, which they had a throwaway line, which I didn't really appreciate though. It was like I think they were hinting at one of the guys was gay in the beginning of the movie, and that no
yeah,
one knew. And
yeah,
then at the end, it was just like, I'm gay, right? They're like, yeah. Like,
yeah. So
I get what
we
they were
knew
going with that. Like, it doesn't matter, who cares?
exactly. Yeah.
But it's the way that they did it. I was just like, so then why'd you put that in the movie for? Like, I guess you're trying to say like it doesn't matter, but at
Hmm.
the same time, then why'd you put it in the movie if it didn't matter? Like,
Yeah.
it almost contradicted itself. Like it's like, so you make it a throwaway line. Like if that's the case, you should have made it a bigger deal. That could have built his character up. Like maybe he was
Hmm.
timid or shy and afraid almost of what people were going to think of him in the show. So that would be a reason why he doesn't do well in the beginning. And then when people prove to him that they don't care about that, they love him regardless. Now he soars. Okay, there's a better story right there. But they were just like, oh yeah, we
Yeah.
knew. Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
let's just it's just like, so why'd you mention it?
But that goes into the trouble that I think they had with having the family so soon. I'd like your point. I think you made it or Brandon made it. They shouldn't have introduced the Shazam family so soon because
No,
now you have six characters and three villains whose stories you have to tell, plus the wizard story that
right.
you have to flush out in a 2-hour movie. That's too much.
Also, I
And
don't
you
understand
see,
why they brought him back. They couldn't have wrote him around. I mean, they killed him in the last movie. Then they brought him back because he didn't die. He went into another realm, and I'm like, oh boy,
yeah,
like we
exactly.
don't have enough people to watch in here. As far as the movie goes out, any favorite scenes, any favorite parts of the movie that you really enjoyed?
The favorite part for me was again knowing that this kid's what was supposed to be the underlying driving factor for Billy
Hmm.
Batson and Shazam was the fact that he felt he was about to lose everybody.
Right,
For me, was the payoff at the end when the mom, tells him, you're never, you're never growing out of my house. You're never going anywhere.
right. Yeah, that was amazing.
You'll always be my son and so forth. Like, I thought that was a great part of the movie because it was like one of the few truly emotional,
Right.
impactful parts of the movie. Because everything else that they tried to do to me,
Hmm.
like, was a dud. Like nothing really landed. I think the way they wanted. A lot of the jokes didn't land for me the way they wanted.
Right.
But that scene did. Because I
Yeah.
felt
For
what
as
she was
short
saying.
and as little we saw the mom, that scene was powerful, man. Like even
Yeah,
myself, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
yeah.
She's just
Even
like,
if
I want to see Billy. I don't want to see
yeah,
the superhero. I want to see my son. She said.
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and even the father, when he tries to get down, like when they were all getting in the truck, and I think he said, get it, everybody in the battle truck," and she goes,
In the
"When
belt.
did we start calling that battle truck?"
They wanted it on the family group, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
crazy.
yeah, I like their two characters. Like for me, at those 2 seconds, they stood out more than some of the other like main Shazam family.
Yeah. I gotta say, for me, man, my favorite scene was the actual last fight. That's what I kind of was hinting at in the non-spoiler review section. That battle in the Philadelphia Phillies arena stadium, excuse me, with the what I think was Calypso and the Dragon and Shazam trying to put as many lightning bolts in there to kind of make it just like electrified in there. It was just it looked amazing. Like there was some shots in there where, he's Shazam is in the dark, but his chest part here with the lightning is glowing. You see the lightning in the background. and then the fight with him and the dragon, him punching the dragon in the face a couple times and putting the stake into his heart and all this stuff. Like I thought that was just really, really well done. And then when he did the Shazam with the lightning storm inside of there, where it made the globe look like there was a scene earlier where I think was one of those electric. What are those things called out? When you put your hand on the electric ball and it
Now,
has electricity.
oh, I
Is
don't
it
know what
called
it's
anything?
called. Yeah, it's got a name, I'm sure,
It's
but I
got to
don't
be
know it.
something it's called, right? But you guys know it. If you see it, you guys know it. It's a
I'll put it on the
ball.
screen.
Yeah, and it has like electricity. You put your hand on it, and it puts the electricity on where you put your hand on. It looked just like that because the globe or I guess you could say the shield that was around a certain section of Philly
Oh yeah, the
enclosed
dome.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little dome kind of thing. And it looked like that from the outside. Again, the visual effects of the entire scene was just awesome, dude. There's just a great fight, a great scene. And the fact that Shazam realized that he had to sacrifice himself for his family was just, I was like, wow, that's beautiful and deep. Of
Hmm.
course, they didn't keep with the freaking theme out. They didn't kill Shazam. And not that I wanted to see Shazam dead or anything like that. Like, it's just that if you're gonna go near that topic, like, then make it final, make it worth something. Because the minute you revive him and make him live again, then it's like, all right, so then why did you just keep him alive in the first place? Like, you build
Hmm.
up all that drama, the tension to be like, nah, he's okay. Don't worry about him, dude. Stay with it. That would have been crazy to think of that. Oh shit, Shazam's dead, but the rest of the family's still alive. Somehow, maybe they get their powers back and they live for him. We got a better story here. You know what I mean? But like, of course, somehow, someway, like Al had said earlier, the Shazam family plus mom and dad from the foster home end up in the God realm with the wizard,
Yeah.
and they bury Shazam in the God realm by the tree of life that they just put up over there. And they're saying that there's no more gods. They said, and
Hmm.
then they said that there was no more magic either, something
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
And they
Well,
needed
because they
some.
needed the gods, yeah, in order, I guess, for it to exist. Yeah.
Right. So they had the staff that wasn't working anymore because I guess he used all the power that he created to destroy Calypso and the dragon and to help out Philadelphia there to get rid of that tree of life or the tree that they created. I don't know, man. It was just crazy. And then I mean, listen, I appreciated hearing Wonder Woman's theme. I really do. I do it all the time whenever we talk about Wonder Woman. Oh, dude, that shit hits, bro. That shit hits. And again, I think it would have been a lot better if we did not know it was in there.
Hmm.
But I think Al, even knowing that it was in the trailer, it didn't help because it's like
No.
it just felt forced. It felt like that's random. So
Yeah.
she shows up now to revive this guy or revive the magic inside of the sword. How did she get the thing? Did she clap the bracelets to get it back?
No, she just slammed it to the ground. I think she just touched it and slammed it on the ground.
Oh, dude.
I don't remember her doing anything fancy. And that scene, they could have done a lot different,
Mhm.
and without even having to bring her back. The same way during that date scene in the middle of the movie,
Right.
where you don't show her, there's a body double, and then her face gets covered by the by the wizard. Yeah, that was the freakiest
That
thing
was a
to
little
look at.
freaky looking.
But the same way they did that scene, they could have done the end, like at the end of Batman versus Superman, where you don't show that Superman's alive, but they hint to it by having the dirt come up.
Raise up, yeah.
Yeah, they could have had Shazam die, be buried, and then have the wizard say, we need a god, only a god can bring him back, or something like that.
Right.
And then have everybody leave, and then have a cut to a close up scene of the dirt, and then just show Wonder Woman put her hand down, and it's her because of the bracelet. And
Right.
then
It
cut
almost
scene.
kind of ended like they did it the first one, right?
Yeah, and then just
Al,
end it
you should be
there.
writing movies, brother. You have some good ones. You have some good ones, man. Definitely.
That to me would have been a better ending than that, and then have her with the joke, stick to saving the world, kid. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like,
All right. So listen, let's talk about those post credit scenes. There was two post credit scenes in this movie. The first post credit scene, Al immediately you and I jumped on it because we were like, "Oh, how fucking nice is this? Hardcourt. Oh, James Gunn's wife. Oh,
yeah,
how fucking convenient and nice is this that she's still in the post credit scene?"
Yeah. Although they're trying to backtrack on that. Have you heard them? Oh
No.
no, this scene was written and done well before we even knew that James Gunn was. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Everybody on the team, Amanda Waller's daughter, you don't use her character. You
Mhm.
use Harcourt, who is the least one team like of the group.
Yeah.
That's the one you use, and then this guy. Come on,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like it's again a lot of people are saying that and giving James Gunn shit right now on Twitter about it and everything. Let's talk about that first post credit scene before we get into the second one. They basically are inviting him to be a part of the Justice Society. And if we recall back to Black Adam's movie, Hawkman and I believe I forgot what the other guy's name was, with the helmet.
yeah,
Pierce
yeah. I forget
Brosnan
his
played
name.
him.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the character. But anyway, they were say they were part of Justice Society, and on their way to wherever the Rock was, Amanda Waller was the one that was calling and talking to Hawkman about their mission, and
hmm
I think the Atom Smasher or something like that. So it was like they invited him. They invited Shazam. I was going to call him Shazam. I remember that from like when we first started recording, like our second or third episode. I
yeah,
called him Shazam.
yeah.
So anyway, Shazam, they invite him to be a part of the Justice. And he goes, "Yes, yes, I'll be on the league. I knew this day was coming." And they were like, "Justice Society?" And he was just like, "What?"
There's another group called with the Justice in the name. That's a little confusing.
Right. So I mean, like, there's a part of me, like I was telling you, Al, when we left the theaters, that was like, I can kind of see this now. Because in the comic books, Justice Society was in a different universe. And it was
hmm
like the older versions of the heroes, right? Where Justice League is the newer version of the hero. So I wonder if they're doing something similar to that. What's your thoughts on the whole Justice Society thing for Shazam?
I think it's their way of keeping Shazam. And unfortunately, I took it as a well, I want to keep my friend employed because, to your point, this is all supposed to have been older. Justice
Mhm.
Society was supposed to have been a group that was around
Right,
and then disbanded, and now you have Justice League. Not that they're both around at the same time doing different missions.
right,
Um, so yeah, I felt like it was a corny way of explaining why you're still going to have Waller, Harcourt, Peacemaker, and now Shazam
right,
because he wants to keep his friend employed. Because if you take out the DC, the old DC, and you have to get rid of Shazam because he was in the Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman universe,
right,
the only way to justify keeping him is, oh, let's make him part of Justice Society. So, and that's what I was saying before. Like this kind of almost makes me not want to watch anything of what's coming because it just sounds like it's him and his friends.
right.
And in order to do that, he had to get rid of other people. Like in this movie, they don't even reference Superman.
I remember
Now,
that
come
that
on.
bothered you a little bit there,
Yeah,
that one.
because like you're gonna reference flat, you're gonna equate yourself. You're Mr. Every Power. And the closest other superhero you compare yourself is the Flash.
Yeah, because
Not
he has a
not
lightning bolt on his chest, just like him.
that's it. But you can fly like Superman. You're bulletproof like Superman. You're
You're fast
strong.
like Superman.
You have almost every power like Superman. But the person you compare yourself the most to is the Flash. And you reference, yeah. So like I don't understand what the whole animosity towards Superman is. Yet you want to make that be the start of your new universe. I'm not. I'm so confused with this hatred towards Henry Cavill's Superman right now.
Right. Yeah, I didn't like that either because I heard there was a cameo for Superman that they may have taken out too. So
hmm Yeah,
that's a little upsetting as well. Because I mean, like, basically, if you're gonna reboot the shit anyway, who the hell cares? Show me
exactly.
Superman. Why not? Let me see him. You put Wonder Woman in there. You about to put Batman with the Flash, and Aquaman's coming out. So the only person you're leaving out of this, like just to kind of give us a goodbye, is Superman. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. We just saw Superman and Black Adam. We're seeing
Yeah,
Wonder Woman now in Shazam. We're seeing Flash and the Batman. You're basically showing us the Justice League again. So, like, I don't know, man. I just don't understand some of the decisions that they're making. I guess they get to pay the big bucks for a certain reason. So, you
Yeah.
know, we'll see. And then the last post credit scene there is almost a beat for beat repeat of the last year's or the Shazam first one. The post credit scene or the end credit scene, you could say, is this like worm. I forgot the name of the worm, is like Mr. Incredible or something like that. And he's talking to Mark Strong's character from the first movie, which I don't remember the name of the villain in that one either. And he's telling him he still has a plan. It's just taking him a long time because he's little. It's like, what?
The guy goes, "I've been here 2 years." He goes, "Yo, I'm small. It takes me a while to get around."
And it's like, oh, we're probably never gonna pay that off, and if we do, it won't be for years because I can't see them. Especially, I don't know if you heard about the disaster that is Shazam's box office numbers.
Oh,
You know,
Jesus.
$32 million only is like one of the lowest. Is like I think one of the bottom three for the last couple of
Yeah.
years. So
Mhm.
it's like nobody went really to go see it. Word of mouth is maybe not going to do it because it's not getting great reviews. Um, I don't know, man. It's again that last post credit scene. While it was funny to see the thing again, talking about that it takes him a long time to get everywhere. That's why he hasn't done anything with this master plan of his. Um, but to see that Mark Strong came back just to do that is awesome. Also, it's always great to see people stay with it and like
Yeah.
not give up on the franchise and everything. But I gotta tell you, Al, after seeing this movie, even though I would go see a Shazam 3 because I'm a movie fanatic, I don't care for a Shazam 3, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever want to see Zach Levy and Shazam in an outfit again. They should have killed them off at the end of the movie. I don't know, man. What about you, man? What's your feelings on seeing another Shazam?
You there?
Yeah, Al, I'm here, brother.
Yeah. You froze up when you were saying you don't wanna see Shazam, and then that was it.
Okay, no problem. What I was saying is what's your take on seeing another Shazam like a seeing a Shazam part 3?
As for me, they really haven't left anything to see. Like, I
Mm,
really don't what's the next step? You'd have to
yeah,
show at this point, like, Billy Batson in his 20s. Are you if that's the case, are you really gonna do Shazam the way you did Shazam? You know?
right,
Like, had they shown a progression, like, where he stopped and was slowly between the first one and this one not acting as childish, but in the literally in your cut scene, he's still acting like he's 5.
right.
So, unless they bring him into the shows and show the transition there, there's I'm not interested in seeing this character anymore
Mhm,
because it's again, looking back at this movie, I've lost interest in it already. So to see another movie, like to your point, I would have to be seeing it because it's the new movie. I'll give it a try.
mhm,
But as the sales show, they've not developed his character well enough to make people come out. I mean,
yeah.
Morbius, they did a better job getting people out for Morbius. You know,
Well,
when
they did trick us with the Spider-Man stuff. They got us
but
in there
even
with all the Spider-Man, like, innuendos.
yeah, but they did that with Wonder Woman. They had you thinking Wonder Woman was in the movie, and people
Right.
still didn't come out.
They're like, "We're not falling for that shit again."
Yeah. So I don't know. I would give it a try only because it's going to be a DC movie, probably released in the middle of this new universe. So I'd like to see probably what they're doing with it.
Right.
But in terms of oh yeah, yo, I can't wait for 3 to knock it.
Nah. Yeah,
Yeah.
same, man. I'm right with you there. Alright, I mean, listen, guys, you heard us talking about Shazam, Fury of the Gods, or Shazam 2 for, people out there who don't really care about the title. Hey, listen, I would love to know if we're the only ones who saw it because in the theaters, it was about 6 of us. Sunday night in there. There was one guy having the fucking hell of a time in front of us. He was
Yeah.
laughing at everything. He was like, "This is
I,
awesome."
he loved it.
He loved it. He definitely loved it.
Yeah, good.
But you know, I didn't see anybody in there for a DC movie that just came out. It was kind of shocking.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about it? I would love to know the people who did see it. Email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought. Come on, Mo. Tell me what you thought if you saw it. And if you didn't, if you're watching on YouTube, you can hit us in the comments section. Let us know what you guys thought of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Love to read what you guys write about that stuff because you guys are funny sometimes. So listen, let's go right into the last thing we're going to talk about today, Al, which is one of our favorite movies in the last couple of years has been the John Wick series. John Wick has been absolutely incredible. Um, my man from Neo from the Matrix, I can't even remember his name right now.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. Oh, drinking the fountain of youth and just killing it. I mean, talk about special effects. Hey, we have a 50-year-old man kicking ass.
Mhm.
So, I mean, these stories have been great. The first John Wick caught me by surprise. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not see John Wick in the theaters because
No.
when I saw the trailer about, oh, they killed this dog, and I'm like, I'm not watching this shit. And then you hear about it, people talk about it, and you're like, there's no way this movie's this good. So I
Yeah.
waited for the movie to come out on Blu-ray and I bought the movie immediately. I was like, this is crazy. Headshots, headshots, headshot, the car scene. And I'm like, dude, he fucked some shit up for a dog. The second one, John Wick Chapter 2, they built upon this whole thing about the hotel and the atmosphere of the assassins and all this different thing. And I thought Chapter 2 was just as incredible. Same things with the action scenes and everything. And I said to myself, Al, there's no way John Wick Chapter 3 can be good because what are they going to do different now?
Mhm.
My lord, Parabellum was ridiculous. I mean, I've actually re-downloaded our John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum review, and we were losing our shit during that podcast. And that podcast was what, like maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I loved the way we talked about John Wick Chapter 3 because of the insane action pieces and everything. And everything I'm hearing, everything I'm seeing is nothing but fantastic news, even though it's a long movie. They say the movie's about 2 hours, 45 minutes, 3 hours
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And they're saying it earns every minute that it has on the screen. IGN has given this movie a 10, a masterpiece, they call it. Al, are you looking forward to this movie or what?
Okay. Hell yeah. We just watched one again Sunday.
How was it
Um,
watching Chapter 1?
just as exciting, kid. And like I said, there's two scenes that we really love in that movie, which is when John Leguizamo's character has to explain to he gets the car and he goes, "Yo, whose car is that?" Because he's like, "Why does he care?" Like you start building up the John Wick mystique because you're like, "Why
Yeah.
does he care so much?" You know.
Yeah.
And then when after he hits the kid and the mobster calls him and he's like, "I heard you hit my son. What's up? What's up?" And he goes, "Well, sir, uh, he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog." Oh.
Even
So,
then he knows, God damn it.
yeah, so right off the bat, you're like, all right, who the fuck is John Wick? I need to know what's up. If this guy just said oh and hung up like he
The
understood
Baba
like John.
Yaga.
Yeah, kid. So just the excitement. I mean, this how I don't know how I think I've seen this movie 100 times by now.
Right.
I still get sucked in just seeing it. I mean, TNT I think does like 1, 2, and 3 back to back every other
Yeah.
week. And every time I see it, I just put it on and I don't feel the need to turn it off. It draws me away from whatever I'm doing it. And that's how you know
Right.
that you got a good movie when after this many times of watching it,
Yeah.
you can have it and you still will stop doing what you're doing to catch a scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And that's the case for 1, 2, and 3. 3, I
Yeah.
think, kid, if they had stopped 3 after the first 25 minutes, I think we could have gone home and still said, yeah, that was worth my money.
That was worth everything. That's one of my most memorable moments in the movie theater. That and there's been a couple, there was the Avengers, there was Batman Dark Knight when we saw it together, and there was even the most recent movie we saw together was the Tokyo one. Oh my god, Bullet Train.
Yes.
Bullet Train was an experience. But I will never forget us watching Parabellum and like the crowd in the theater every time this guy was hitting the guy with the book.
Uh,
Oh, the first few fight scenes alone, everybody was like, "Oh shit, this movie's crazy." And
yeah.
again, like the first 20 minutes, we were like, "This is nuts." there's no
Yeah,
way they could pull this off for the whole movie. And yeah, they did. Yeah, they did
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm afraid of how tired I'm gonna be after 4 because, to have your adrenaline pumping that long, steady, because every movie is just action from beginning to
Oh,
end.
dude, I'm gonna have my blue raspberry slushy. I'm ready, dude. I'm gonna hype myself up, coffee, all that Sunday night, man. It's gonna be
Good.
crazy.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, man, I'm trying to think about that chapter 3, man. Anything that was like a memorable thing for me, like the motorcycle scenes. Just there's just way too many memorable moments. The one thing I never understood, or I did understand, was when the hotel owner shot John Wick from the roof to kind of save him. But
Mhm.
that was a big drop, dude. Like
Yeah.
he
See,
banged off a couple things.
I really wanna see how they play off him and Wick getting back
Hmm.
together because I really think he did that really could be played off,
Hmm.
either that he did that to get Wick to fall over the side and
Right,
escape, or it could be played that he really did do that shit to save himself and get reinstated,
right,
and he was willing to give up Wick.
yeah,
So, I mean, they really could do that one either way with that,
yeah,
because I really didn't know which way he was going with that,
hmm,
because at the end, like, his job was to protect that establishment and be
hmm,
its manager.
right.
So if that means killing Wick, I could see him saying, "Well, I gotta kill Wick," you know?
Hmm. Yeah, man. And then also shout out to our man Morpheus. Lawrence Fishburne was in the Parabellum movie as the something king. Or was it the Underground King or the Night King?
Oh,
Something.
oh, yeah.
He was something where he played like it was
The
like
burrow, not the
Morpheus
burrow.
esque. All I wanted him to do was put his hands behind his back and walk, like he was
Yeah,
praying backwards almost with his arms back behind him. But yeah, man. And it's funny because we all saw Morpheus. A lot of us kind of hoped that Trinity would be in there also to kind of like being like, oh, look who's in there. Also, that whole Matrix like connection. There's still a hope for me to see Trinity pop up in the movie. I don't know if they should though, because we really don't want
yeah,
to associate another movie with this movie. But this movie's such a badass movie. I think the
mm,
last movie also had Halle Berry in it, if I remember
yeah,
correctly, with
yeah,
dogs, right?
that was one of the crazy scenes for me with her with the dogs. That
Yeah.
was ridiculous. The only thing I'm sad about with 4 is the recent news about, Lance Reddick.
Yeah, he played the front
The
desk person at
Yeah,
the hotel.
yeah, because he had a big scene in 3. Remember when they're storming the hotel, he joins Wick in defending it. Oh, kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it
rest in
would've
peace to that actor, man.
yeah, I feel bad for that, but, because he was a big vital part of the movie and making its character be what it is,
The
so
way he
it's
spoke, his just personality in the movie just fit perfectly into the hotel's theme.
yeah.
Yeah, the usual Mr. Wick.
Do you need room service?
You gonna make me watch John Wick Chapter 1 tonight, brother.
Ah,
I'm
kid, you
telling you.
have to, man. You have to.
Yeah, man. So listen, really, really, really looking forward to seeing John Wick Chapter 4. And I can't wait to review this movie with all you guys. And for you guys watching, if you've never seen John Wick for any reason whatsoever, you need to watch it. That's not one of those things like you should watch it and only if you have time. You haven't seen that series, you need to see that series as a movie fan. It's an
Mhm.
action-packed movie. John Wick Chapter 1, 2, and 3. And again, we keep hearing great things about Chapter 4. I'm so looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it, man. So listen, that's going to be us for tonight so we can start working our way to John Wick Chapter 4 this Sunday. We appreciate you guys for listening. So listen, just help us out here. Subscribe or like the video we're putting up. Or if you're listening to us on a podcast, hit the plus symbol. That way Al and I come to you every week telling you about what we think about movies. Also, my brother B, our boy San, sometimes jumps on and we talk about movies every week. We talk about what we like, what we don't like, the things that are coming out. So please hit the subscribe button or make a little comment down there. We love to see what you people think about what we're saying and how we're doing on these podcasts there. So listen, saying goodnight from Long Island, New York. We are the Real Fan Review. We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
And myself, Hob, saying thank you guys for watching, listening. We'll see you guys on the next podcast, the John Wick Chapter 4 review. Until next time.